Welcome, guys. Thanks for joining the demo class. So, in this demo class, we will discuss why Azure certification is required and what are the benefits we have in my course. Okay. So, first, about myself. So, myself, Ashok, and I have been working as a senior DevOps engineer for almost 6+ years. And in Azure administration, I worked about 3 to 4 years. And I am Azure administration certified and DevOps certified. Okay, this is a short about myself. So the agenda of this meeting. So in this meeting, we'll discuss why Azure certification is required and certification path. So certification path related to Azure DevOps and Azure administration. And we will show one practical demo with a live example. And in this practical demo, we will show how to create one storage account in Azure Cloud. Okay. And in benefits, we will tell you what are all the benefits by enrolling into this course. Okay. At the last, we will have give some time to answer some of the questions. And at the last, we will give a link. If you are interested, you can register for the course. Okay. So first thing, why Azure certification is required. So when you do the certification, you will get a knowledge and skill set to manage Azure cloud resources. Okay. And the next one is you can increase the marketability and the career opportunities in the cloud computing field. And the next thing is when you have the Azure certification, you will get enough skill set to manage Azure deployments effectively and efficiently. And if you have the latest Azure certification, you will get the latest features which are available in Azure, and you can follow some best practices in the Azure cloud. And some more reasons like why we will go for Azure certification is like some people don't know where to start their career, so they will start with some of the certifications and they will jump into that related fields. Let's say cloud computing or any other field related to this one, cloud computing, a data engineer or DevOps engineer, like those roles. And once you get the certificate, the Microsoft will give you one badge. The badge will be look like this. Okay, the icon Azure Administration 2-star badge. This way, the Microsoft will give you some badge. So this badge you can attach it to your resume so that your resume will stand apart from other resumes. Let's say two people are applied for the job and one have the Azure certification badge. So that resume will value more compared to the other resume. And one of the main reason is organizations also require some of the Azure certified professionals to accept their new contracts to their business. So due to that reason only, most of the organizations force their employees to do Azure certifications, or if they are using AWS, they will force them to do AWS certificates. So as we discussed, why certification is required, the next thing is certification path. So how to approach and what is the path to do the certification. So right now, Azure is providing role-based certifications. Role-based means if you want to become a DevOps engineer and you want to do DevOps related work, the first step is to do the Microsoft fundamentals, and then you can go to Azure administration or you can go to Azure developer. So in Azure administration, it is like a administrative kind of work, and Azure developer, it is related to development kind of work. It requires some programming knowledge. But when it comes to Azure administration, you don't require any prerequisites, but you need to understand some of the cloud basics like networking and what is cloud, what are all virtual machines, hypervisors, those things we need to take care in Azure administration. So once this Azure administration is completed, you can go to DevOps engineer. Without this Azure administration, you cannot write Azure DevOps engineer exam. So it is a mandatory. But when it comes to this one, Azure fundamentals, it is not a mandatory course. You can ignore this. And in my course, I will cover both Azure fundamentals and Azure administration at a time. You can directly give the Azure administration exam if you are interested. So this is one kind of a role-based path. So in Azure, there are several paths to based on the roles. So these are all complete Azure certification role-based paths. So let's look at one of the path here. Okay, here you can see Azure Solution Architect. To achieve this Azure Solution Architect, you need to do Azure 900 and then you need to do Azure 305. Then you will have the skill set to manage your Azure architect level jobs. So same way there will be data scientist jobs also there, DP 900 and DP 100. And here you can see this AG 900 is optional and DP 900 is optional. You can directly give DP 100 if you are capable. But only these 3 stars. So only these 3 star certificates badges will require mandatory courses. Let's look at this DevOps engineer. It requires AG204 or AG104. And there are some specialty courses also there based on the rules. So for SAP workloads, we have Azure SAP workload certification specialty. So it does not require any mandatory course. Directly you can give AG120 Azure for SAP workloads. So like this, we have so many paths in Azure. Okay, let's move on. So we will show one practical demo. What will be the actual training look like by showing one sample example. Okay. So to log in into Azure Cloud, you need to use this URL. So to log in into Azure Cloud, we need to use this URL portal.azure.com. Okay. So to create or build any resources in Azure Cloud, you need to have one subscription. Okay. So already I have one subscription. So the subscription is like a billing way of Microsoft. It will bill based on the resources what you use. Okay. Current my billing is 0. Once I start to use the services, they will charge me on this subscription, like a Netflix account or something. Okay. So let's create one storage account. So first, the storage account is like as a name indicates, it will store some data. Okay. So the benefits of this storage account is you can store all the files, blob kind of files. Blob kind of files means MP3 files, flat files, or images, those kind of things. And this Azure also give you flexibility to store table data and queue data also. Okay, so let's start creating this storage account first. Okay, so you can create storage account from the icon shown here, or you can go to create resource and go to storage. Here also you can see to create a storage account. So let's click on create. So first thing we need to select subscription. So I already have subscription. So the next thing is resource group. So resource group is like a container for our resources. So it is like a collection of resources. So without this resource group, we cannot create any resource in Azure Cloud. So let's create one resource group. I will name it as demo group 1. Okay. So storage account name we need to provide next. So when it comes to storage account, the storage account name should be unique, and it should be DN. It will be mapped to the DNS entry of Azure, so that we can directly log in into this storage account and see what are all the files by URL. So we will show that at the end of the demo. Okay. The main concern is it should be unique, otherwise it won't take. So let's name it as demo storage. So if I click on here, you can see error is popping saying that demo storage 4 is already taken. It should be always unique, then only it will take. So I have given some random numbers so that it will be unique. So next region. So region is like Azure will have so many data center across the world. So based on the region nearest to you, you need to select one of the region. Okay. Specific to this region, there are a lot of concepts are there. Those we will get into when actual course starts. Okay. So for now, let's choose the nearest region. I'm choosing Central India. So next is performance. So based on the performance requirements, we need to choose whether standard or premium. So this will depend on the business use case. Okay. If the business use case requires low latency, they can go for premium. If they don't want low latency, they can go for standard. The main difference will be in the latency and pricing. If you go for the standard, the price will be less. If you go for premium, the price will be high. For now, demo purpose, we are choosing standard. And next option is redundancy. So this redundancy means Azure, when you upload some data to your Azure, Azure will maintain so many copies across their data centers. Okay. So these data centers again will have so many logics. Like if I click on this drop down, there are local redundant storage is there, geo redundant, zone redundant. This means the data which you upload will be replicated across a geographical location. Geo means, and LRS means local redundant storage. It will be copied within the data storage, within the data center of Azure. This will cost less when compared to the geo redundant storage, and this will cost more. Zone redundant storage will cost more than GRS. Like that, the options will be there. So for now, we will choose local redundant storage, where the data will be copied across within the data center only. The when you upload some files to Azure storage, the data will be copied to multiple data centers so that your data will not will be available all the time. So next, advanced tab. In the advanced tab, keep all the options default. Okay. And in the networking also, keep all the options default. Data protection also, all the options default. One moment. So right now I'm choosing all the option as default because this is a demo purpose. In actual class, we can discuss all the what are all the options and everything we can discuss. Okay, the last tab, review. So here you can see what are all the options we have selected. Mostly I have selected default options only. Only the thing is name and location resource group, and performance and replication. These details we have modified from the default options. Once everything is validated, you can create. So it will take 1 or 2 minutes to create a storage account. Once this storage account is created, we will upload some data and we will change policy and access requirements and see. So now here you can see on the pop-up notification deployment is succeeded, and click on this button to go to that resource. So click on this one, go to resource. Here you can see our demo storage account is created and it is in the central India region, and subscription pay as you go, and performance standard replication locally redundant storage, short form LRS. Okay, so in Azure storage account, to upload data we need to have containers. Okay, so right now there is already one default container is there mentioned as log. It will be used by Azure to store some of the logs. So again, container is like a folder in a file system. Okay, it will store some of the data. So let's create one container and name it as data, and the public access level I am giving as private. Okay, and create, click on create. So we have created a container simply like a folder. Okay, so go to this data folder and upload some file. Click on upload. So I'm choosing one sample file, index.html. Upload. So it is uploaded, and click on this file again. So here you can see all the properties of this file: URL, last modified time, creation time, type, and it is a blob kind of file, binary large object blob kind of file. Okay, so here you can see one URL, right? Copy this URL and try to browse this URL. So now here we can see we are unable to access this file because we have given the permissions as private on this container. So on this container we have given as private, so that's why we are unable to access this file. Globally we are unable to access. So let's change this access to public. Click on this container, and on the three dot menu click change access level, and here choose blob anonymous read access or container anonymous read access. Both will work in our case. Let's choose container read access and click OK. So here you can see public level access is updated to container level. So whatever files are in the container, we are able to access globally. So let's try one more time. So now you can see we can successfully open this file, and we can see the contents of this file. So this way we can change the access level policy on storage accounts. Okay, so this is a short demo of storage account and access level on containers. Okay, so benefits of my course will be, so you will get a real-time training. So as I already worked on I worked as a Azure administration engineer, I can give you the real-time scenarios, and with examples and demos I will show you. And the next thing, you will get access to the Telegram group and where you can clear all your doubts and you can ask questions. And in the Telegram group, we also provide updated uh, features of Azure so that you will be stay up to date with the technology. And the next benefit is you will get a low cost certification. So when you go and do the certification, the cost will be around 4,900 and plus tax will be there. Total it will come as a 5,500 or 5,400 something. So we will give some discount on the certification also so that you can give the exam at low cost. And we also give some resources like exam dumps or some portals where you can practice the Azure certification exam questions. Those are not actual questions, but the concept will be same only. And we will give some notes which is written. Main points will be written on the Azure notes. Those notes will be provided to you. And by this complete training, you can crack the Azure certification course by yourself. So no need to have any extra support something. You can directly do and give exam. And once you get the exam, once you crack the exam, you can directly apply the roles of Azure administration or Azure cloud support. Those roles you can apply. And once you selected also, we will give some support to the interview questions also. What questions they will ask and what are the practical scenarios, those kind of things we will discuss. Once you get the job also, you can do yourself. They once they give the task, you can do yourself. So no need to take any extra support there also. Mm, So next, so let's move on. So with all these benefits, the course price will